Hey everyone, my name is Laura and welcome to Book Bubbler. Well, trying to get back on the wagon again here with posting and filming regularly. Let's see how this goes. Today is the 22nd of July, it's Friday, and it's really hot. Like a lot of the world, it's very hot right now. I am extremely grateful for central air. I don't know how I would live without it, quite frankly. Anyways, how are y'all doing? I'm moseying along, just really busy, which is fine, but yeah, just busy. Song of the week this week is Everly Brothers. I really like the Everly Brothers. I was raised on them, and they still hold up. There's still some good jams, but I'm going to pick one of their more bummer songs this week, Let It Be Me, solely because it's been in my head the last 2 days, and I haven't heard it on the radio. I haven't heard it on iTunes or Spotify, Shuffle at all. I don't know how or why it's in my head, but it is. So enjoy some slightly bummer music from the Everly Brothers. Reading week has been okay. It's going to look more impressive than it feels. This is also going to be pretty short comparatively because I voted for the Booktube Prize this week, which means I wrapped up, I'm going to say the 4 books, even though I'm still finishing one, but the one I have left is super chunky, and where I put it will not, however it ends, will not affect whatever happens at the end of this nonfiction book. So that's all done. So I've got 3 finished, and I will work on that last one. I think I'm going to try and film a how I voted video, but I've done that before and then never posted it, so you never know. So that is done, and that is a massive relief off my shoulders, like massive. I also will not be doing the final round of the Booktube Prize because I have been so busy and so crazy, and feeling like I have homework that I have to read is going to make me drag my heels like a teenager and not want to do it. So I'm not going to join the last round, which probably makes no sense because I only have to read 3 books maximum, 3 books max. But I just can't face it right now. I know I can't. So 2 of the books that are not in my group that I know I really want to read are How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith and Crying at H Mart by Michelle Zauner. So I'm going to read those 2 at my own time, on my own speed. Like, it's fine. I don't have to read it in a 2-month thing. You know what I mean? So that is a massive weight off of my shoulders, not having those big depressing books staring me in the face. So outside of the 3/4 that I finished, I have 2 more to talk about today. One's going to be a little ranty, so let's leave that one till the end in case you don't want to hear a rant. So I finished this on ebook, but I'm going to hold up my hardcover copy here. It's A Rogue of One's Own by Evie Dunmore. This is the 2nd in the Ladies League of Extraordinary Women series by her. These are light romantic comedies set in the Victorian era and suffragettes. And I liked this one. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 3, just over 3 stars. So in this one we have Lucy, Lady Lucy, who's living on her own. She pulled herself away from her family after they tried to disgrace her and make her marry someone she didn't want to marry. So she lives on her own. She has a cat that she loves, and she and her friends, who are all make up the 4 main girls in this series, women, excuse me, they're working on how to get the word out a little bit more, and they decide to collectively go in together with their money and purchase half shares of a printing press agency in London. So they decide to do this. They go ahead and they make the call, they pull the trigger, they make the purchase. They find out someone else just bought the other half, and it's this man here. God, what is his name? I read this just 2 days ago. I don't remember. Tristan. So Tristan has been in love with Lucy for most of his life, most of her life. She has no idea. He is a bit of a rake, bit of a rogue. He could sit in the House of Lords but doesn't want to. He's the 2nd son, and now he is the next in line since his older brother passed away. His father is a tyrant. His mother was always sick. He has his own demons to fight. So it's the 2 of them fighting with each other, but also fighting together ultimately for women's rights. It was fun. It made me chuckle out loud a couple of times. Nothing here is reinventing the wheel, and it doesn't have to, and I really enjoyed it. So this catches me up now. I read the 3rd book 2nd, just because it came up in my library hold. So I'm all caught up for now. I think the last book in this series comes out later this year sometime or early next year. I don't know, but I did really enjoy this one. It was a lot of fun. And now the one I'm going to get a little bit ranty about. Yeah, this is Promise Canyon by Robyn. Carr, the 13th, I think, in the Virgin River series. Yep, 13th I have written down here. Somewhere in there. Okay, so this year, one of my loose goals that I am not addressing at all, so I realized it and I'm like, oh, I gotta get on this. So I'm gonna try and finish the series this year just because I have all of the books except for the latest 2 publications because she started started writing new books in this series last year or the year before with the popularity of the Netflix adaptation. So I have them all sitting here. And I just want to get rid of them and get done with it and move them on. So I'm like, great, I will read this. This will be what I read at night when I don't want to read upsetting things about people killing people based on their race before I go to bed. Call me crazy, but I'd like to read something a little lighter than that before I fall asleep. So I was reading this one and okay, I like this series in general. What I like about it is the town and everyone you get to know in it. And as you read books in the series, like any decent series, you get to know more side characters, you know, whose nephew is this, somebody lives over there, they come to visit, blah, blah, blah. I like that about this. That's one of the reasons why I like reading series. You get to know everyone around, all the secondary characters in the town and everything else too, right? So that's the good part about this. The thing I didn't like about this was the main couple this time around. So it's a younger girl. She's 25. She is Hopi, Native American, and she lives with her grandfather. So she is the female main interest, and the male main interest is Gabe. No, Gabe's his son. Lily is her name, Clay. And Clay is Navajo, Native American. Clay moves up to Virgin River to help Nathaniel at the vet's practice. They've been friends for a long time. Clay has worked as a farrier and working with horses and for show horses and everything for most of his life, both on the reservation and then as an adult living off of the reservation. He has a 17-year-old son from a previous relationship and a fairly recent ex-wife that he just needs to leave LA to kind of leave her behind because it's sort of a friends with benefit situation still, and he just wants to cut ties and have it be done. So he moves all the way up to Northern California to Virgin River to work with his friend Nathaniel. He can kind of talk to horses. He's a horse whisperer, but then again, so is Lily. Lily and her grandfather run a feed company, and she drops off all the food and everything. The two of them end up saving a horse that was abandoned, and she falls for the horse and slowly starts to fall for him. There's like a 10 or 11 year age gap, which is not a big deal. I mean, you do you. This is no judgment on anyone's relationship or not, but sometimes that can read creepy. No matter who is older and who's younger, it can read creepy, right? And for some reason, this struck me as really creepy for this book. Maybe because his son was just a few years younger than her. Excuse me. This is what I get for doing it in front of a sunny window. Sorry for sneezing. Anyways, because they're closer in age than Clay and Lily are. There's a little bit of back and forth between, like, I think good-hearted teasing, maybe it's true, I don't know, between Hopi and Navajo. That was all fine, but the way that the author writes about how both Lily and Clay communicate with animals and communicate with horses, I know it was meant, and she has an advisor here who's Native American who signed off on everything and told her what to write, and I'm sure that, like, whatever, you know, so there is a thing in here about that like she did talk to people who knew about this stuff, so she wasn't just making it up. So I get that, and good for her, you know, but it just felt a little like very stereotypical, like, red man knows what he's doing with a horse. It seemed really like that. It was like, oh, I kept wincing reading some lines like, oh, this does not feel good to me. And again, someone approved this and signed off on it and like, yes, this is correct. And maybe this is the way it is. I don't know, but it kept coming up. It made me uncomfortable. And maybe it wouldn't have made me uncomfortable 6 years ago or 11 years ago when this was first published. I don't know. I think it probably would have, but especially now I really like, ooh, I don't know. So I didn't like this couple, and I know a lot of like the big joke for a lot of romance and a lot of stuff in general is just have a conversation. Like, it's not hard, just have an adult conversation. It might be uncomfortable, but in 5 to 10 minutes, it's over and the problem's resolved, right? She behaves like such a child, so dramatic and angry and explosive and so irrational. It is so childish. And it made me really, really furious. Like, are you kidding me? Are you joking? This is how you're behaving? This book made me angry. It's really a 1.5 star. The half star is because she consulted a Native American on this. And the 1 star is for the town and what else happens in here. So someone, I'm not going to spoil this for you, but someone who is still alive in the show dies in this book, and they're dealing with repercussions of their death, how it affects the town. There's a lot of that going on in the background, and I liked all that. I enjoyed all that. That was good. That's what saved this book. But no. And if this was the only book I ever read in this series, I would be like, why is this a TV show? Why did anyone ever read this? Ugh. So I am very happily moving that one out of my house. And I've picked up the next in the series, which is Wildman Creek, I think it's called. And the 2 people that are in there, I already know I'm going to like a hell of a lot more because they were in this book a little bit, and I liked them already as individual people. They seem to have actual reasons for the way they're assumingly going to behave and not act like a petulant child. So yeah, that was my reading week. Coming up, like I said, working on that one for the Virgin River series, and I'm going to finish the last Booktube Prize book I have to finish, even though I already voted. And after that, I don't know. I have another week left in the month, which is really nice. There are 3 more books on my July TBR that I never posted that you'll probably never see. So to go over them quickly, the Golden Girls Readathon is to read a historical fiction book not set in the US. I will be reading A Caribbean Heiress in Paris by Adriana Herrera. It's a Jamaican young lady, goes with a friend of hers, travels to Paris in the late 1800s, late 1890s, 95, 96, I want to say, to try and get her family's rum company, rum business, like introduce rum to Paris essentially, and then get them like sign contracts to make money. She handles the business. She's 3rd generation. She handles that at home, and she gets to France, and of course it's all snooty McSnoots and whatever. So I'm going to read that for Golden Girls Readathon. I'm also, for the book naturalists, I have Thin Places, I want to say, by Carrie Nee Doherty. I'm not sure what that's about, but it looks good. And then the last one I have to read, is Dead and Gone, Dead and Wrong. The next one in the Sookie Stackhouse series. This would be book number 8. Dead and Gone, I think. Dead and Wrong does not make sense. And then if I finish all of those this week, my bonus book that I was going to treat myself to read this month is The Summer Book by Tove Jansson. I've had this on my TBR for a long, long time, like on my shelves for a long time, and I really want to read it. It's summer. It's, please, knock on wood, don't get any hotter, but it's hot. I want to read about a delightful Nordic summer, hopping around islands and eating lovely things. That sounds really nice. So those are my plans. I'm also working on a whole bunch of bookmarks for Double Booked Co. Trying to get stuff prepped for Christmas season, prepped for craft fairs that we're doing in person. So I'm doing a lot of that work. And then of course, massage and taking care of my mom, everything else. So there we go. I think that's it. How are you? What are you guys doing? If you have read the Virgin River series this far and you got to this book, please tell me you felt the same way. I just feel like ick. Give me the ick. Anyway. All right. Take care, everybody, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.